Today, we honour a wonderful footballer.
Good straight kick.
And an innovator in the field of goal celebration.
Petrie around the corner. Snap goal.
Drew Petrie is playing his 300th game.
Inside out right for Banana. The last celebration was good.
It comes at a great time for North fans. Suddenly, the Kangaroos are one of the most exciting teams in the competition. And it's not just Brad Scott's facial expressions providing the highlights these days. Take, for example, Jared Waite.
Waite, oh, what a man.
Swallow out of the cell. He's done it again.
Over the first 6 rounds, he's put in some of his best performances since appearing in WAG Nation. A win today for North Melbourne would be the first time since 1979 that the Kangaroos have won their first 7 games.
Which is going to be the club that dominates the other? I believe it's going to be us.
1979 was a long time ago. It was the year the Sony Walkman went on sale, and there was a Carlton Premiership team. 2 things no longer in production. Today, the Kangaroos face off against St. Kilda, fresh from an impressive win against Melbourne.
In the end, it just is rowed by the skipper.
This should be a bit harder for the Saints, as unlike the Demons, North will probably play someone on Nick Revolts.
That's superb.
So can the Saints do what no one has done this season and beat the Kangaroos? Or will North fans party like it's 1979?
Well, Titus O'Reilly does his best work on a Sunday afternoon. 1979, they finished the year 17-5 and well, they were knocked out in a preliminary by Collingwood on that occasion. But as we welcome in Lee Matthews, it's certainly exciting when we see a debutant, and equally as exciting when we see a real warrior play 300 games.
Well, it is. It's AFL Life membership for the 300th game. That includes a lot of things that maybe aren't to do with senior games, so maybe Drew's already an AFL Life member, but it is a big, big milestone. And, yeah, many players are making it, and maybe seeing a lot more players seem to be playing into their 30s. More will make it in a percentage sense, but it doesn't diminish at all the acknowledgement and the fantastic achievement.
He's about to walk past us. And the noise is starting to build. What a champion.
I think, Hamish, the modern tradition of taking the kids out. It is just a fantastic memory for those little ones. I'm sure it'll be on the DVD to be played many times down the track.
So a kiss from wife Nicole, and then Jack, Abby and Ruby just heading out. I'm not sure whether or not that's Abby or Ruby, but finally a high five for 300 games. We welcome in a coach that has got this side playing great footy, I'm sure. Very proud of Drew Petrie. Welcome, Brad.
Thanks, Hamish. Thanks, Lee.
How do you pay tribute to a player like Drew during the week?
Well, it's been difficult because of the contribution he's made to our football club over a long period of time. But when people think shin bonus spirit and wonder what that is, you get a shining example in Drew Petrie.
Now, that's part of the shin bonus spirit is to stick up for your own. Now, your comments that Lindsay Tom's suspension was unlucky, it epitomises sticking up for your own no matter what. Brad, that your attitude?
Yeah, look, whether they're 100% wrong, 100% right, you stand in front of your players and you take whatever bullets come.
6-zip your lot at the moment. What is pleasing you most about the Kangaroos?
I think our balance between attack and defence has been really pleasing, and the fact that we can play the game multiple ways. If teams want to attack us, then we can score, but if it's a defensive dower contest like last Friday night, we can get it done that way too.
Now, the stability of your team, 19 players have played all 7 games. So, I mean, Steve Saunders, who oversees your conditioning medical operation, you recruited him about 4 or 5 years ago. He might have been one of the best recruits the club's had in a long time.
Yeah, he leads that area, but he's got a great team underneath him as well, and everyone works collaboratively to get the result, and the players really buy in and they work really hard on their injury prevention stuff.
One final thing about today's game. Now, St Kilda kick a lot of goals over the top by just offsiding the defence. Now, your defence seems to stay back a little bit more than most, but I'm sure that is something you've looked at really closely this week.
Yeah, they attack really well. I mean, they're a young side that really look to get forward and they look to run forward hard, and you know they're pretty good in the contest as well. So that in combination means they're dangerous. So we're going to have to defend well.
Good luck this afternoon, Brad. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
North Melbourne, as always, giving us phenomenal access to both the players and the coaches alike. Jared Waite, who we've spoken about a lot, but we spoke of Steve Saunders. Interesting to read today, Jared Waite chose North Melbourne on the basis that he thought he may be able to play more football at North than anywhere else, given Steve was there.
Well, it is the North Melbourne system, and the system's a lot of people, but Steve Saunders was recruited, a physio who was recruited from Adelaide a few years ago, but their system seems to get the best out of their players and keeps them on the field. So whatever they're doing, players who've got any concerns about being able to play week in, week out, getting stability of performance. Yeah, North's a destination club in that regard.
Extraordinary, and he's kicked 22-6 for the year, and since he joined North Melbourne, missed just 2 games, one with a hamstring, and 1 week he was rested. It's the Kangaroos and the Saints on a Sunday afternoon. The roof is closed. Can the Kangas make it 7-zip? Stick around, bounce not far away.
Special day, it's Mother's Day, and of course Nick Riewoldt, as he's done so well for so many years, leads his team out onto Etihad Stadium. They've won just 1 of their last 7 games here at Etihad, but they did win importantly last week against Melbourne by 39 points, and a nice tribute here for the mums of St Kilda. They're all out there with their boys. Just to the St Kilda mums, but to all of the football mums and all of the mums watching. We wouldn't be able to do it without you, that's for sure. Happy birthday, Mum, watching back in Perth. Nick Maxwell is with Alan Richardson.
Well, Richo, great win last week. There must be a lot of confidence in the group at the moment.
Yeah, with the exception of GWS, Maxie, the guys have been in pretty strong form. Our contest has been good, our pressure's been good. Got a bit of work to do on our team defence, but no, it's been pretty positive.
Kangaroos obviously undefeated, been very impressive. You found any chinks in the armour you might be able to exploit today?
Look, I'm not sure about jinxing the armour. We're just going to continue to play our way. We know they've got some really impressive tall forwards. If we don't get pressure on that ball, we're in a bit of strife. So we'll continue to play our way and try and put as much pressure on as we can.
And Tom Hickey's been very good so far in the first 6 weeks of the season. Obviously comes against Todd Goldstein. Big challenge for him today.
Yeah, no, he's had some good rucks in recent times. That continues. He's a fantastic player, Goldstein. Not only his ruck work, but he can push forward. A couple of weeks ago, kicking 5. So Tom's going to have his hands full, but he'll back himself into play his way. He's been in good nick.
Good luck today, mate.
Thanks, Richo, and nice work, Maxie. There's one change for St Kilda. It's a jack for a jack. Jack Sinclair goes out of the side, and Jack Loney comes in. Toss of the coin.
Okay, it's Saints or the AFL. Okay. So you call it first. Call it. AFL. Saints that way. Good luck. Thanks, Mia. Cheers.
So Nick Riewoldt winning the toss and, well, in a sense, spoiling the early celebrations for Drew Petrie. What a day for him. And today, his 277th game alongside Brent Harvey. He lived with Brent Harvey early days as a North Melbourne player. Here is St Kilda's lineup with that change, as we mentioned. Loney comes in. Big job for Dempster, Fisher and Gilbert trying to match up on that very tall and potent forward line for North Melbourne. They've been in ominous form, but this man in some of the best form of his career. Nick Riewoldt with 3 goals last week, and along with Bruce and Membry, causing some headaches of their own for opposition defences. It's a great side, isn't it? One of the great shin boners. Drew Petrie now 5th on the games played list for North Melbourne, 7th in goals. 3 goals today, and he goes to outright 6th for North Melbourne. And away we go on a Sunday afternoon, Mother's Day, Drew Petrie's day, and Riewoldt with the first clean possession of the football. A bouncing ball towards half forward. Akers pushed off it by Ferrito as he kicked. Did well. Kicks towards the line and over it'll go. Just helped over. Good crowd in. Mother's Day Sunday. Last touch of the footy.
Don't hold, Ben.
From Sam Gibson, playing game 92 today. So Hickey and Goldstein. Excellent contest, that one. Ball inside. Good kick back in from Nunes. Scrambly ball now to be won. Weller. Handball was almost clear, not quite. Then the quick kick out of the danger zone, but not far enough from Del Santo, and marked by Savage.
Out the side.
So they're in good form, St Kilda. They've started well here today, 2-4, 13th on the list. Carlton just jumping up to 12th with their victory yesterday, but this would be the perfect start. Savage for his third goal of the season and the opening goal of the afternoon. The Saints hit the ball at first.
Always very important to get that first goal up. It's hard enough to earn the shot, but when you actually can go back and convert, it just relieves the pressure. So St Kilda have achieved that very quickly.
To Goldstein and Hickey again. Hickey first hands to the football. Again, they get the ball to their skipper. Montagna involved. It started with Dunstan. It goes back to Montagna. St Kilda playing the ball really well. Nunes on the wing. Sends a bouncing ball towards Minchington. Back to Gilbert. Long ball inside 50 and fisted over the line by Tarrant. Membry on screen. Good game for him last week. A career high 5-1 against Melbourne. Goldstein worked his way in front. Zeeble. Goldstein again. Just got his handball out to Wells. Losing the footy is Atley. Dangerous, it was McMillan in fact. Tough one now, and Zeeble goes with a clearing ball towards the middle of the ground. Saints there, but Nahas, brilliant. First game for the season. To Petrie, his first touch in his milestone match. Goes to Wells from Waite. Brown is on. 55 from home, he marks. He's got Higgins cruising by. Good finisher. Loves it at Etihad. Held it a long time. Gilbert got there and affected the kick. Just in two minds, I think, Higgins' opening score of the afternoon for North Melbourne.
Great chase. He was in two minds because he wanted to actually chip it inside, but no one presented, and he just went the step long, and the chase pushed him off his kick.
So Montagna, who's been often given the responsibility to bring the ball back in, been averaging 28 this year, to Stephen. Got his kick away. Armitage back with a flight. Zeeble. Nice bounce for him. Took on Akers, did well, and tried to work it around the corner. Weller was in the road. Akers got back, helped out a little. Dunstan, industrious as always, wanted revolt, just a bit too slick for him. Weller, Geary, had time to feed it back, and then Montagna, hurried kick to the wing. Well done. So Billings, who has been so good for the Saints, works the ball, a little bit of a fumble. Not often you see that from the skipper. Still, though, the Saints have got the numbers on the screen around the football. Savage, who kicked the first. Normally a better kick than that. Still it gets to Nunes. Tries to get away from McMillan. Gave it off. Nahas. Now to Petrie. Gets away from Hickey. Did a good job of it in, and then a nicely weighted ball over the top to Zeeble. Brown, Fisher, Nahas, who gets support from Brown and has time. There's a couple of kangaroos. Higgins drops in front.
So handball's on quickly. Atley now ran out of room, actually. Gave the ball to Harvey, back to Brown, and that's better. They set up down in the Waite direction. This is a mismatch. Montagna there with Waite. Well, North Melbourne would have liked their chances there. They didn't get the high ball in that it required.
Well, that was where the mismatch was. If the ball was in the air and then Waite versus Montagna was good for the Kangaroos, but it didn't. As soon as the ball hit the ground, then Montagna was the right matchup for Waite. So sometimes things just don't quite work out.
Yeah, it depends where the ball is, who's favoured by the mismatch. That's right, Lee. Waite again. Handball out to McMillan. He's close to the line, running out of room. Did really well to keep it alive. And Brown, I'm not sure that this has been touched. How perfect is that? Game 300. Drew Petrie. He kicks it from the square. And North Melbourne are on the board.
It's fantastic for Big Drew. 300th game to get the first goal for the Kangaroos. I guess this comes under the umbrella of the oval ball. sometimes the footy gods are with you, sometimes they're not, and just the bounce of the ball eluded a few players, and Drew Petrie is virtually cruising into the goal square, hoping that maybe someone could get the ball to him. But the ball itself wanted to go there.
It's Mother's Day.
As a mind.
It's like it's his birthday as well. And look at that experience out there today, Lee.
Yeah.
230 is Daniel Wells, and he's at the bottom of the list. Harvey, Del Santo, Revolt. Incredible, isn't it? 300 gamers in the one side.
Well, 4 including Petrie out there today. Sorry, including Revolt out there today. So remarkable to have 4 that have played 300 in their career all out there at once, and 3 playing for the Kangaroos. Brown, Flew, Waite, Higgins all kept their feet, but the Saints got hold of the football. And then the ball trying to work over the top to half forward. Membry is there, had a big week last weekend. Tarrant does enough. Umpire allows that one. Interesting. I always look now, Lee, to the umpire just to see what they're thinking.
Yeah, what they're thinking, yes. Well, it is, as we spoke about in the pre-game, you've got to try and keep it in, otherwise you've got a fair chance of getting free kick. That's the rule, or that is the way the players should be thinking.
Goldstein. Seems like a few of the Saints fans thought that he dealt with Hickey unfavourably. Umpires didn't see it the same way. Brown flew out the back. Well, Waite again. He flew, but quickly just stayed on his feet, got hold of the football, lost it in the tackle.
Holding the ball, illegal disposal.
We spoke to Brad Scott before the game about just making sure that St Kilda don't get over the top. And they're not pressing up as high as a lot of clubs do, the Kangaroos, playing a little closer to the man-on-man defence that I guess we've known for about the last 100 years, before the last 5 or 6.
There's a 300 gamer. All the 1%ers. Speaking to a few people during the week, he's been respected for so long by teammates and opponents, and he's a family man, a teammate, the ultimate clubman. So congratulations to Drew. Played under Pagan and Laidley. Darren Crocker in the middle for a little bit, and now Brad Scott.
Hickey cleaned possession.
Well, the ball, Kangaroos.
Might be a bit unlucky there. I thought he did get a handball away, but it didn't go far, and the umpire wasn't too sure whether he did handball it away or not. Wood now. Long ball down in the Brown direction. Revolt came. Goldstein. How much tall timber do you want in one forward line? It's an embarrassment of riches, really, with Goldstein pushing down there as well, and we're going to have to see Nick Revolt get back like that.
Well, every now and again. I mean, yes, certainly Ben Brown, who is the tallest of their big forwards, when he reaches and jumps, well, the spoil is not going to be a really offensive one. It's going to be a little spoil at best.
Not a great kick by Nunes. Straight to Del Santo, like he was playing for the Saints still. The ball offline, and a lucky let-off for St Kilda. So the Saints with the opening goal of the game. North Melbourne with a couple of blemishes. Drew Petrie with their first. It's a 2-point ball game for North, and well, as if he hasn't done enough over his career, He's kicking in from goal now as well, Nick Revolt.
Great article in the paper today talking about Revolt's numbers and how this year things continue just to improve. I mean, he was a child star. He's just continued to be a star, Nick Revolt.
Most people are more valued after they retire, and I think Nick will be like that when he retires. I don't know whether any St Kilda player will outrank him in the fullness of time.
Savage, normally a long kick, pulls the kick on this occasion, and well supported by Geary. They've been good this year, the Saints. They've had just a couple of wins, but some really competitive outings, particularly against the Hawks, and for a long time against Port Adelaide, I believe. A 33-point margin in the end. Webster, his right boot was the wrong one. He loves his left, not so adept on the opposite side. Harvey, good on either side. Runs away from younger men. Works it to half forward. Well, this man's having a career year. 22-6 so far this season. Full of confidence. That kick not so good. How does it bounce for Ben Brown? Well, he lost it. Tried to work it back in the end to Swallow, and Savage comes out of defence. To the wing it goes. Membry's got Atley hot on his tail. Back it comes by hand. Minchington hard up against the boundary line. Long ball. Revolt, how did he get there? He's just at the other end of the ground, bringing it in. Covers some miles. Back inside on the left to Ross.
Ross plays on inside 50. Perfect. Well up on his own. Marks. Should be the Saints' second goal, and Nick Revolt take a bow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, basically, it came from the Waite kick, really. He kicked the ball to the lead of Brown down the other end, but when the ball went to ground, not to the mark, then the North defence, so the St Kilda defence swept it away. But they used it well. They brought it back inside, and then were able to just come to the opposite side of the field where there's always space. and Weller was on the end of a beautiful kick.
Matt Weller's played in all 7 games this season, kicking for his 8th goal here. That's perfect. Great start, St Kilda, and Nick Riewoldt in fine form.
That was a 3 versus 1 contest. The one won it, which is unusual, which was Riewoldt inside, and then a beautiful kick by Ross to Weller. So that was a lovely setup by St Kilda.
So out of the middle again, an opportunity for the Saints. This time Minchington had it, then just lost it. Mullet, quick kick away, half forward, bouncing ball. Waite gets led to the ball by Gilbert, did well, moved it on to Nunes. Now a bit of a hit and hope. A couple of Saints go back with a flight, but Thompson had his eyes on it early, drifted into space. Kick wasn't terrific.
Here it is. Yep.
Early days, I know, but St Kilda, I think we have to re-rate. They look like a much better team than we thought they were at the start of the year. They're more than in this contest against the team that's currently undefeated.
We saw the Saints last week, and coming into the match, everyone was talking about the Melbourne side that had really reinvigorated, drafted well, and were building a great team. This Saints side took care of them.
Looking very good.
Petrie, not quite. Fisher did enough. Ross just spun around, not quite for Billings. Looks on, gets it in the end, works it low. Webster. Now Mason Wood feeds it back. Swallow runs into trouble. Bouncing ball for Nahas. First game of the year. Somehow ends up with more time than most thought he would. Kick not terrific. Waite though, been turning not much into plenty this year. Unable to do so there. Talking about Waite's inability to stay on the field as a Blues, sometimes through suspension, a lot with injury. He's only missed 2 as a Kangaroo. Once he was rested, once with a hamstring.
Wells was over the footy, came up to Del Santo, back to Wells, came from Swallow, trying to find some room to move. He found it. About 70 from home, pops it up high, outnumbered, and a bit too much height there for St Kilda that time. In the middle of all of that was Zeeble, and Savage is playing an important game. One of the players, Lee, who can play smallish or taller, and he'll have a role to play today, cutting across that tall timber. Cunnington now, back to Mullet, his first game. High ball, Zeeble with a big fly, couldn't bring the ball to ground. Akers trying to paddle to the line. Cunnington now keeps it alive. Tracking it back is Nunes.
On there.
Yes, that St Kilda defence is still largely the core of the team that was playing grand finals a few years back. Fisher and Gilbert, Geary, Dempster, Montagna's gone back there to supplement it, and of course Savage came across from Hawthorn a few years back. Good group. They're a good group.
Saints fans wanted 50 there. Waite came a little late. The kick very close to the line, but it's okay.
North just a little off by foot, 48% at the moment in regard to hitting their targets. Just cruising across through full-back, and that kick just perfect. Ross has got a couple of runners, chooses Fisher. Man on over the top is Hickey. He can go back inside to Gilbert, does so now, might run into trouble, gets away from trouble. Jacobs came at him, almost overcommitted. Second effort was good, forced the kick, went low. Now Wells, clean to Zeeble, going to get it back. Wells, heap of options wide. Threads it to McDonald, back onto his left boot. Low ball, well, raffle it. Still going to work out okay, I think. Cunnington, it'll sit for him. Now just measures the kick well, terrific. Had to be good, Montagna. Didn't overcommit, got hands on the footy. Suddenly, the Saints come away.
Brilliant football, Lee Montagna. Take about Gresham now. He had 3 to beat there, and it was cleverly done. Ferrito got it across to Zeeble. Now to Mullet. Weller again involved. Got his hands on the footy. They're the smothering Saints at the moment. Keeping it alive a couple of times, and terrific mark. The Akers kick, and then the skipper. How good has he been early, Lee? He's
been good, and the defences have been good, although the kick into the 50 from both sides, they just made a few errors. Both sides had the chance to kick it to an uncontested target, but missed the target, and then the opposition defence has swept the ball away.
Disposal number 5 for Nick Riewoldt. Webster to Dempster, and now to Fisher, and they can bring it broadcast side now. Gilbert's on his own. He's got some space. They edge the ball towards half forward. High one coming in. There's a whistle there. And it will be Thompson's free kick.
He fought for the back position again a bit there, Bruce. I mean, forwards often go to the back because they think the ball's going to be run and kicked over. But in a set kick, you have to force your way to the front position.
Brown's going to be the target here. Just caught underneath it in the end. Billings on the bench getting worked on. Savage comes off. Stephen on the phone. Hickey choosing water. All happening for the Saints. Plenty of discussion. Plenty of work being done by trainers. Brown, front spot. He and Bruce do battle this time. Bruce has made his way down from full forward territory. Little give was good. Del Santo. Back it goes. Attlee. Long handball. McMillan had to wait. Bounce was terrific. Got a runner. This time Mason Wood might end up on the end of it. McMillan called for it again. News in trouble, so Wood didn't go there. And then he put Higgins under some sort of pressure. The tackler was Ross. Ball in dispute. Geary, little give on the up was good. And Gilbert, he's been covering some miles. Bullets it to the wing, but the Kangaroos will end up with a football. Tarrant off a step. Long driving ball. Brown's got a lot to beat. Stood his ground. Heap of Saints flew. Out the back it comes. Wide at least. Harvey doesn't miss too many opportunities. Loves a goal, but across the face.
Interesting defensive setup. It's hard to tell it, obviously, on the television, but they're both defences are holding ground a little bit. So that ability to get the ball over the back, which is so many scores being generated with so far this year, both defences are making sure the opposition forwards cannot get behind them.
Montagna's had 6 disposals. That won't count as one of them kicking in from full-back. Short to Gilbert. Now Ross, who's also been busy this season. Quietish start to the game, though. That's just his 3rd disposal. Now Webster drives the ball towards half forward. It was perfect for Tarrant. He didn't touch the football. Attlee now can mop up. Little give over the top to Thompson. They combine so well. Such a good back 6. Weight came high. No mark. Minchington waiting down. Wins the footy on the ground. Geary now low and flat, and Weller playing some big moments in this game.
And he's got a long kick. He'll have a crack at this.
So from 55, all of the momentum behind it. Not quite a mark, unfortunately, for Bruce. It was just over the line. It's a beautiful long kick.
He seemed to rush a little bit. Maybe he was trying to get there before he had to kick directly over the man on the mark, but he's one of those players who's got a good 60-metre straight kick in him. No big Weller.
A couple of 32-year-olds combining. Del Santo and Ferrito. Harvey turning 38 this Saturday coming. Plenty of 30-pluses out there for the Roos, and Scotty Thompson turns 30 tomorrow. So Harvey, Waite, Petrie, Wells, Ferrito, Del Santo and Scotty Thompson a 30-pluser tomorrow. Steve Saunders has got them all looking young.
I think if you picked a team of over 30s from these two, you'd have a pretty good team.
Yeah.
Just looking at the clearances, boys, Jack Stevens, obviously their best player and their best midfielder. Sam Jacobs has gone to him. He's kept him to just 1 disposal in the first 19 minutes of this game.
Thanks, Maxie. So the Saints defence doing a good job. 20 minutes into the first term, North Melbourne held to 1-3. The Saints, meanwhile, 2-1, lead it by 4 points. And again, Dempster just floats across. He and Gilbert had weight taken care of. Good communication. Dempster the flyer, and then to Montagna. Back inside. Again, Hickey, late from Zeeble.
That was interesting. He just gave the benefit of the doubt to Zeeble, which is fair enough, but he was just a smidgen later. It would have been a 50-metre penalty.
Well, in good hands now. Josh Bruce is a beautiful set shot. Gets his opportunity to get the Saints third.
Let's call it. Don't lose it now. Don't lose it. That's it. Yep.
Let's just have a look at this again. I mean, he went at the ball. It was just more a question was the contact late. So I think he was a little fortunate, to be honest, not to get a 50 against him for that. You could have argued almost the same. It was a very aggressive spoil from behind, but neither were penalised. Both marks paid and nothing else.
He's become a real goal kicker for the Saints. 50 last year. Well, almost. Adding to his 12 already this year. Another one of these giants who sought greener pastures and more game time.
A few of them around the competition, I suspect, in the next decade. Ex-giants at different clubs.
So Del Santo then. That's his look at it. It's a long ball. Bruce flew high, waiting down Nunes, and well done to Billings.
That was good from Nunes, wasn't it? He actually, in a split second, identified that Nunes was actually just on his own. I know it was Nunes to Billings, sorry. That Billings was on his own, and obviously if you can set up a set shot in your forward 50, well, that's always the first option rather than having a shot at goal under pressure.
He's only kicked 2 goals this season, both of them against Collingwood back in round 3. He had a season-high 30 disposals that day, and again, inaccuracy from the Saints. So, really, they should be further in front. 2-3, North Melbourne 1-3. The Saints by 6 points on Sunday afternoon.
Good honest game of footy. Both sides, again, they're not pressing really hard. So essentially there's going to be a big contest wherever the ball goes. So you're not going to get too many easy kicks.
Kangaroos. It goes through.
I was thinking about Brown during the week, and he's only missed 5 games since he debuted, Brown. The Roos have lost all 5 of them.
Yeah, he's been a valuable player because he is tall, but he's got agility too. He gets after the ball at ground level, so he's not only like the tall player who's really only gives you something in the air.
You talk about old Warriors. Extraordinary to think that Boomer Harvey played with Jade Gresham's father in a premiership 21 years ago. So now his former teammate's son plays against him this afternoon. Another 300 game, a quick kick, but savage.
Thank you, Mason.
The former Hawk just in the right spot again. Kicked the first of the afternoon. Beautiful ball to Montagna. Quickly, happy to play on. Now Revolt and Gresham, who we were speaking about, well, he waited a long time. Tarrant got there. Terrific spoil away. Jacobs to Harvey. Wanted Gibson, missed him.
Good defence by Tarrant. He was the one who read the play. No zoning up in that one. He had to run to affect the spoil. He got over there.
Cunnington is such a good footballer, isn't he? Finds the hard ball and then releases Goldstein. Terrific running by the big man, and here's Drew Petrie. Low and flat to Brown. Full stretch, good grab inside 50. Petrie involved, and all of the tall timber getting their hands on it there, with the exception of weight, really. Look at this from Goldstein.
That's the running ruck. That's what Goldstein is. He's not only a big guy who's involved in the air in the ruck work. He gets at the ground level, and Petrie. And if you kick the ball out in front of Brown and he can leap at the ball, well, there is no chance a medium-sized defender's got any chance of spoiling that one.
He's had a terrific season, Brown. 13 goals, 4 for the year. On the runway now, directly in front. And North have got their second. It's all tied up.
He knows he's got the distance. It's only a matter of can he kick it long and straight, and the goalposts don't seem to get in your vision so much when you're a long way out. You can just kick the ball at the goal umpire himself. And like so many players do, they kick the ball straighter over 50 metres than they often do from 30.
Push. Kangaroos. Okay. Push. Play on.
So Goldstein, relatively quiet week by his extraordinary standards last week, and he's already seen a heap of the football comparatively to how he got rolling last week. 8 in total last week, already 5 this afternoon. 2 before quarter time. Dempster, not quite. Brown kicked the last as he squeezed it through again. I think the lunge from Akers has missed. Back-to-back goals for Brown.
Yeah, that's the difference. We said before, he is a big guy who can get involved at ground level, as Goldstein can, who's the Kangaroos ruckman, and it just adds to them the agility, because St.Kilda haven't got a gigantic defender on Brown, because no one's got anyone in that big who plays defence. But just he can ferret around, and that's really clever. You're not always going to be able to kick the goal, but the ability just to identify, don't even bend up, the little tap kick, and scunged it through. I used to use that term, but it's still a goal.
Good from someone that stands 2 metres end to end.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that in the dictionary, Lee? Scunged?
No.
I'm going to check.
That's what it was, a scungy goal.
You can get it in.
You need about half a dozen scungy goals a game.
Umpires today, Stevic, Camelins and Hay. Umpire Camelins bounces it down. Goldstein in absolutely everything. He's lifted, hasn't he? Jacobs got it from Cunnington. Ball towards White. Strong hands. As strong as you get. Webster was right there, but he couldn't knock him off the footy. And they're kicking for 3 in a row here, North Melbourne.
Oh, nothing changes. If you can kick the ball into your forward line and you've got some big targets who can jump and take contested marks. And that's one of the reasons the Kangaroos have been so good. Waite's been leading the charge. Brown's been good. Petrie's almost been the third banana this year, but really strong in the air, all three of those guys.
Kicking for his 23rd of the season. Buddy Franklin with 29 leading in the race for the Coleman. So the fact that we're mentioning him in that conversation shows what an impact he's having this year. Great year for Jared Waite. Offline that time, margin 7 points.
We always talk about players, how good they are at longevity, how often they do it for, but right now, Waite's as good as anyone in the competition in the form he's in.
Higgins within range for him. Long ball, Reebok gets back offline. Another one of these players that decided to move on, left the Dogs. Second year now at the Kangaroos, and he's had a terrific time at Arden Street. Revolt had so many offers to play elsewhere. One loyal servant. Back it comes, Montagna. Always there to help out the skipper. To the outer side, a one-on-one transpires. Weller went early. Waite did beautifully. Then ugly sort of a ball. Might be okay for the Saints. Geary reacted quickly. Handball. Nunes in trouble. Swallow comes in. Might get away from a couple of Saints tacklers. Waite into a dangerous spot. Now a wait for Gibson. Cunnington, can he finish? He floats it through. 3 in a row to the Roos.
Yeah, it was they tried to run the ball out St Kilda, but couldn't get it outside that 50 to 60 metre goal scoring range. We see it here. It's probably a jump that was just low percentage, and obviously from here they're in control of the game. Geary tried to run it out. Bad handball, and then all of a sudden when it's turned over and the ball comes back in quickly, then there's defenders and off forwards, they're all over the place, and as happened, a forward runs onto the footy. That's Cunnington. The Kangaroos get the goal.
Well, running it out really hasn't been their go lead. They've had 36 uncontested marks, the Saints, to the North Melbourne just 16. So they like to chip it around across half-back and prefer not to run by hand.
Yeah.
Last 5 scores, last 11 clearances. Might be 12 here. Atley, Jacobs, and they do get another one. 3 goals in the last 4 minutes. 7 seconds remaining. Gibson hooks it back inside 50. Waite had it on his chest. Lost it. Nahas. Brown. No mark. Siren. And that will do it in an entertaining opening turn. So North Melbourne, after St Kilda got away to a good start, they've kicked the last 3 goals in this opening term. Nick Revolt playing some sort of game, but it's North by 14 points. St Kilda have won 76, North Melbourne have won 75, and there's been 2 draws. So over a long, long time, these clubs have been locked together with not a great deal separating them. North Melbourne by 14 points as we get the second term underway.
Perfect bounce in the middle. Goldstein and Hickey doing battle again. Dunstan got hands on the football. Quickly gave it off to Stephen. In turn to Hickey. Onto his left boot. Long wait for Weller. Crashing through Tarrant. Almost for Gresham. Second opportunity. Got it. Fired it to Stephen. He got a hand onto it. Wells suddenly over to the skipper. And then a couple of combinations. Membry to Weller.
It's partly the pressure of the chase. I mean, he really, if he'd balanced a little bit more, tried to kick the ball across the body, he didn't have time to straighten up, just didn't hit it correctly. But the chase from behind, even if you don't get your hand on them, there's no stat for a tackle, but it just keeps the pressure on the kicker.
Pretty crowded for Thompson, so he kicks up the line, and Nick Revolt again flies high. That's mark number 5 for St Nick. He's a long way from home, so just pops it up towards the top of the square, almost the mark for Akers. Ball's still alive in there. It ends up with Swallow. Got it from Nunes. Now Gibson across goal. Okay, Goldstein. Holds it in the back pocket. All-Australian. North Melbourne's only All-Australian last year, despite another top 4 finish. Hickey kicked to his opposite number. So Hickey, high ball. Back inside 50. Weight up high. Ferrito looked to be taken high. Armitage had him around the neck. No free kick. And it'll come up again inside 50.
Goldstein right spot on that occasion. Swallow almost. Here we go. Another chance for the Saints. Geary, he's fired it again, but again, only a minor score. Margin 13. Saints have played this stadium well for a long time. North Melbourne looking to go 7 straight for the first time since 1979. Finished the season 17-5 out in the prelim. Collingwood victor that year. In 78, they won their first 8, lost to the Hawks in the grand final. Plenty going on the outer side. No one clear with the football. Well, Armitage will be allowed to release, and does from his knees. Now Montagna to the teeth of goal. Bruce is there, had a lot of it. Spoil came late from Tarrant, did a good job. McDonald, the look-away handball. Going to work out well if McMillan can get hold of the footy, and he does. Jacobs, back to Mullet, in for Wright. Dempster charged at the footy. Revolt might be able to benefit, does, picks it up. Looks one way, then the other. Decides to go by hand. Savage, little fumble perhaps. Dempster gave it back to Savage. Harvey through traffic, might get it again. Gibson chooses Harvey, gets away from Stephen, drops the footy in the process. At least tried to get away from Stephen.
Back a metre.
Did a good job, Jack.
Started the second term well, the Saints, as they did the opening quarter. They retreat here, though, to Fisher. There's no worries about their intensity, Lee. They're hard at it, the Saints.
They're hard at it, as I say. Both sides are defending really well, so there's no easy goals. You've got to pretty much earn them. Defences are holding back a little bit. They're just not pushing as much into the midfield, so largely there's contest wherever the ball goes.
Montagna to Dempster, well done, Ferrito. Got a fist in there and knocked the ball over the line. He'll be with him every step of the way if he can keep up.
Yes, and not about every step of the way, Basil. No one does that with Reward. He just runs too hard too often.
Goldstein was pushed off the footy there. Hickey's got it.
Hold up.
He'll be with him for some steps of the journey when he's not completely exhausted.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Reward's always been the type of play. You just try and minimise how much ball he gets inside 50, so he gets it upfield, not having shots at goal.
Ross, third man up it. Came back Swallows' way, and then the footy gathered by Gibson. Down towards Drew Petrie, had it knocked away by Fisher. Live ball inside 50. Little fumble there. Dempster, Geary, Montagna, Fisher, back to Dempster. Nunes, it wasn't a long handball, but okay in the end, and the ball to the wing.
Big fly from behind Membry. Went to ground. Stephen did a good job of it. Lost his feet, then went back inside looking for Billings. Gibson. Back to Zeeble.
Contact advantage.
Well, you heard the umpire, so Goldstein suddenly has a paddock. Again, to a hot spot. Saints have got the numbers. Too high in the end for Brown. Dempster, Montagna, into the outer side. Revolt doing the miles. Atley did a good job of it. Little give. Mullet pulls the kick. Nice kick. Now a chance for Mason Wood.
He did do a good job. Remember, you have to mark the ball, you have to control it, and if there's any contact of the arm, it's a free kick. So if you're going to spoil, as happened, I'm trying to think, he was a North Melbourne player against Rewald, but he just got the ball, and that was the crucial part. Did Rewald control it, and therefore should it have been a mark? Really fine line on that one.
So Wood, who's had limited opportunities for the Kangaroos, they've decided that Waite, Petrie and Wood are the tall men. He's floated it through. Minor score, the outcome. North now by 14. Let's have another look at that.
Yeah, let's have a look. Did he control it? No, I don't think so. And it was a clean spoil. That's the important point. If there's any arm contact, it is automatically a free again. So that was a fantastic spoil.
Montagna, he uses Fisher. And a long ball towards Hickey and Brown. Hickey, well done. Kept his footing, body in front, took a good grab. He's an emerging big man, isn't he? Like the way he goes about his football. He's hard at it, reads it well through the air, and his ruck work really developing. Revolt short. Now Ross. It's a dangerous ball, middle of the ground. Dempster's got it, it's okay. Now Gilbert. Outer side. This next one, Goldstein's in the road, waiting down Billings. That was another mismatch there, and then the free kick given away. Bottom of that pack by Bruce.
Right out.
So game 260 for Ferrito. Looked a couple of years ago as though the Kangaroos thought that he was done, but he's changed so many minds and he's such a reliable contributor. Daniel Wells, great to see him moving around the AFL level again. In the wilderness for a long time, his body allowing just 2 games last year, 10 the year prior. Sight for sore eyes for Kangaroos fans. 14th season, going beautifully.
Revolt now third man up. Del Santo, Cunnington, Zeeble, outside 50. Big long boot, but it's inaccurate and landed inside. Just inside the field of play. So it's been a little scrappy here, Lee, this
yeah, well, it's the way the game's being set up. As I say, they are playing a little bit more sort of one-on-one footy than you often see in the way the game's played in 2016. So there's a lot of contests that you have to win.
Goldstein had the right idea, but it went to Geary, and then Dunstan just hooking the ball around the body. Bruce and Ferrito. So Ferrito's had enough of Nick Revolt, and he's running with Bruce now.
Well, we mentioned it to Brad Scott pre-game about not letting the St Kilda get behind the Kangaroos' defence, and if they're not winning enough ball around the middle, St Kilda really pressure that part of the game. But Kangaroos' defence been brilliant.
Cunnington and Dunstan, that was interesting. Revolt gets the ball from Ross. Now weaving his way through. Cleverly done by Gresham. Tried to keep the ball low to Membry. Didn't quite get there. And Ferrito, who was on the wing a moment ago, now down at full-back and delivers to Boomer Harvey.
Have a look at him roll, Boomer. Just puts it back inside. Now the Kangaroos looking dangerous again. Fisher's got the job on Petrie. Did well, Fisher. Took it cleanly. Used his body well. Got in front and then great kick to Geary. Happy just to come back across the face. Savage has got Revolt short and then over the top Montagna, although Higgins is starting to close that option down. Disposal 11 for Nick Revolt, and he's done it all over the ground.
6 marks home.
Just keeps on keeping on. Now Savage. Beautiful kick over the top. Billings can get and go here. Bruce providing the lead and now has to double back. Back onto the left boot. Well, it's Membry or a couple of Kangaroos. Ferrito got there late. Now a chance. Nunes, a little give. Going to come back inside. Membry, big last weekend. And then, well, he's got another. Well done, Membry. He gets his first.
That was the contest. But basically, St Kilda had to work it out of the defence to get to that part of the ground. And this was one of the few occasions on either side where an opposition forward has been able to get there to outnumber the defence, and Membry was the one for St Kilda and kicked it well.
Back to an 8-point ball game, entertaining afternoon. Nunes got it from Ross, gave it to Stephen. Now trying to bullock his way through. Geary ran into Boomer Harvey, and Harvey's the way. He takes them on. Brilliant delivery to Jacobs. What a great goal this would be.
Boys, little concern down here with Daniel Wells. They just had a chat to the doctor and just looking at his right calf at the moment. So hopefully just mind it. We'll keep an eye on it for you.
So he's had that foot and Achilles problem for a while, but Maxie's saying calf. He was singing his praises not long ago. Cunnington. Kick and a half from home. Into the pocket. Who's leading in that pocket? Boomer Harvey.
Hand in the back.
There's not a hope in the hell that Harvey was going to complete overhead with the 2 St Kilda defenders, but they've still panicked a little bit, and I think it was Montagna, but they just paid a hand in the back. I think we'll have to have a look at the replay shortly, but the umpire has seen something. It looked like there was a hand on the back. There doesn't even have to be a push. If there's a hand on the back and a little bit of pressure, it's the flat hand. So I would have thought even on replay that was probably going to be a free kick.
The old body just thinking through things. A mind that's seen a lot, and his body's been happy to execute for a long time. 37 years of age, 21st year of football. Well, he's done it again. Hardly had an oil change. Game 4-16, goal 5 for the Roos.
With the free kick again, yeah, and just the gentle hand on the back, and as soon as the body goes forward, that was always going to be a free, and thought it out beautifully, like as players, the modern player has done, the ability to kick the ball on the outside of the foot, the banana, beautiful conversion.
Turns 38 next Saturday, Brett Harvey.
Boys, good news for North Melbourne. Daniel Wells back out in the ground.
Well, that is good news for North. He's been such an important player for them. Striding out, let's hope he's okay. So Armitage with a free kick in the middle of the ground and no one manning the mark. So he takes off quickly. High ball, inside 50. Revolt marking everything at the moment. Not that time. Ferrito mops up. Armitage under it again. And well read. Just pushed off Jacobs. Uses Gresham, who hooks it back inside 50 again. Waiting for the flyer. Akers came with a big run. Bruce got through the McDonald tackle. Still alive in there. Hard ball to be won. Mullet had it. Lost it. Thompson. Loney. Up it will come. Loney involved there. Hasn't touched the football yet this afternoon. Does not have a possession. Has touched the football but hasn't had a possession, huh?
No. So Jack Loney in for Jack Sinclair, who was omitted. Swallowed. Heard the umpire. See the result. Webster. Clean pickup. Took on the tackler. There was Loney. Got it to the hands of Armitage. Weller takes on the charging. Wells. Second and third attempt from Weller. Desperate stuff. Wells ended up with a football and then lost it. Stephen in the end able to Gilbert. Hard football to win. And Akers hasn't delivered. Gilbert was the kicker. The rising star nominee from last week. Kept it low but horribly inaccurate. So a game-high lead at the moment. 15 points to the Kangaroos. Boomer Harvey kicked the last. Saints have had some opportunities. A few out of bounds on the full though.
Scotty Thompson might have done just that. So puts it back out of bounds on the full.
Saints have done a good job managing Petrie, Brown and Waite. They had 17 disposals and 3 goals in the first quarter. Haven't touched the ball in the second.
So Akers to Fisher. They've been a little rushed and a bit scrambly bringing the ball inside. Webster gives it to Gilbert, who pops it up to the top of the square. The right man in front. What a terrific mark, McMillan. Just read it well. Didn't panic. In the hands. And out to Swallow. Just a bit of a stalemate here for the moment, Lee.
Yes, as I said from the beginning of the game, there's not too much easy ball out there. So the ball's going backwards and forwards 50 to 50, but largely the forwards today have to win a contest.
I know it's Mother's Day, but given all the fanfare for Drew, it's like a Petriation Day, hey? He's been in everything.
He's been good, hasn't he? 74th player to 300, and 4 of them are playing out there this afternoon. Our researcher tells us there's been 12,435 players play the game, and only less than 0.5% get to 300. Petrie's joined that illustrious club. Well done, Mullet. Well, initially anyway, handball not so good. Look at Wells, swoops, and then onto the left finds his man Ferrito. Zeebel's the man on short, but the option really is Boomer Harvey in the end if they can get it there. Zeebel sees him, and Boomer, well, he loves to just get and go. Kick the last. Won't get another.
As soon as Zeebel, the ball came towards Zeebel, and then Boomer says, I'm next in line. And he's one play. If he can cross the 50-metre line, unless there's a certain option to go to, he'll have a crack. And kicks many of them, but dragged it left.
So 1-3 to 1-1 in this term. Scoring's been difficult. Bruce up in front. McDonald there with him. Good grab. North Melbourne's team defence has been excellent. They've struggled to move the ball with much fluency, St Kilda, and again it's just a high ball. McMillan favoured by this one, not quite. Loney did just enough really to affect the mark. Out to Ross, down the line, tough one. Gresham in front, Nahas into his back maybe, Swallow definitely.
And Rewalt has dropped into the forward 50 at this point of the game as the deep forward is St Kilda, and I think they know they've got to win a contest down there. He might be having a little bit of a spell from the midfield run, but just maybe still the bloke most likely to take a big grab is within goal scoring distance if they can get it that far.
The free kick wasn't against Nahas, it was against Swallow, the second of them. Dunstan's long ball, and here he is again. Drew Petrie in game 300, disposal number 8.
Well, Harvey, Gibson, couple of one-on-ones, and then Geary left Harvey and helped out Fisher. Now to Jimmy Webster. The wheel onto that left boot, keeps it low. Who's running? Well, man that doesn't stop running.
Just needs to be 10 metres closer. They just want to try and get re-rolled within goal-scoring distance. This is going to be a good 55-metre kick, so this will be a test.
Well, he's been terrifically accurate all year, has Nick Revolt, but as Lee knew, so too did Nick. Too far out, so to a dangerous spot. Loney, Nunes feeds it back. Well, sidestep, brilliant from Gresham. Knew there was people charging at him back inside. Now to Gilbert. Has he got the distance? Not quite. McMillan, as we see so often, defenders knocking it through. He's happy to trust his hands.
But that pull kick to 15 metres out, I must say, I reckon the defence is marking at about 9 out of 10. I think they know that offensive teams might have a crack at that, so not sure whether that's going to work too often.
So McMillan kicks long, just looking for a little spark the game at the moment. And, well, maybe a free kick here, Dunstan. Against Ferrito.
Again, that tantalising distance. He's going to have to kick it a good 55 metres. 10 metres closer, it's a shot at goal, but again, the dropping it short. The opposition defence are ready for that one these days. Too many sides are going to the well on that one.
And all bar about 6 players inside 50 for St Kilda. Now Savage is a good kick. Billings is on over the top. Savage, though, takes the responsibility. He sends a high ball back to the line into the post. Well, it probably wasn't a bad idea in the end. He's such a good kick, Savage.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's just so many players in deep, and they don't look like taking a mark when the ball's high in the air against the Kangaroos' defence. So taking through the 50-metre line is looking like the way St Kilda are more likely to score.
So Del Santo celebrated his 300th in the prelim against the Eagles. Gilbert needed a couple of attempts. Again, dangerous ball. This time it's found Dempster, not a noted goal kicker.
Gone inside 50 16 times to 8, St Kilda. So this quarter, they just got to make sure they hit the scoreboard.
Again, this tricky distance. So Montagna to the teeth of goals. Killed comfortably enough.
Well, with all that height, Lee, this is going to suit North Melbourne all afternoon long. It's like they're tossing it up there for the volleyball at a spike at home, and they're going to have to rethink their strategy here, bringing the ball forward, St Kilda.
Stay out at the back.
Del Santo short to Wells. Looks okay now, Daniel Wells. A little unsure where to go himself. Eventually out wide, just popped it up for Atley. And now Gibson. It's Thompson, in fact, to Gibson. Now down the line. And Tarrant marks the footy. Again, slow and methodical. Savage gets involved. So the game not reaching any great heights in this second term. It's close for Rito into the back of Revolt. Armitage kept the ball alive. Gibson ran into Loney and over the line.
Yeah, there's no great heights in terms of the scoreboard ticking and ticking, but gee, both sides are working hard defensively and offensively, which is why neither side can break clear into space easily, because both sides are really pushing hard to cover the space. So I'm sure in that regard, the work ethic has been excellent from both teams.
Going back with a flight, Weller didn't quite land as he would have liked, moves on from the contest. So the Saints coming off that 39-point victory over the Demons. North Melbourne, the Friday night win over the Dogs. That tells a bit of a tale. 8 of the last 10 inside 50s the way of the Saints. Still it's the Kangas by 14 points. Zeeble, third man up, will give Dunstan Weller. Now into the middle of the ground. Can Montagna find a target? Revolt, Bruce had it. Revolt ended up with it. Now a chance for Akers and Revolt to talk to each other. Ross got the footy. Swallow is straight onto it.
Straight back.
Hickey
Holding
decided
the
to grab hold of the
Legal
footy
disposal.
out of the contest, and
Take it out.
so often that's not the smart play.
Well, first quarter suggested it was going to be really free-flowing. It's tightened up 1-3 apiece. Atley now, long ball, down towards Petrie. Had 2 to beat, got his hands on the footy, delivers to Waite like silver service and stands and delivers. That's what the game needed, and Jared Waite's got his first.
This is the Kangaroos breaking through the centre square, but St Kilda had their two defenders back. They were set up, but Petrie made the contest, wouldn't have got a stat for anything. But then Waite arrived on the scene to support and kick the goal.
Player full of confidence at the moment, Jared Waite, so gets them out to 20 points now. Swallow, hard press, got boot to ball. Well done, I think. Mullet at full stretch, clean take. Couldn't afford to fumble. So Mullet, the late in for Sam Wright, hobbled off last weekend. We saw pictures of him on Friday Night Football in the moon boot straight after the game. Billings watches on Higgins. Little give, Narhouse, moon walk backwards and then to about 15 from goal, but Gilbert to Hickey. And now the Saints perhaps with some run through the middle. Loney arches his back, gets away from McMillan, over the top. Here's a chance for the Saints. Revolt still just too far out to score. Bruce gets on his bike, runs to the pocket, ignored for the moment.
It's a quick transition, and still the Kangaroos have got enough defenders back, and that's what both sides have been doing, which is why we haven't scored many goals.
Well, Hickey hasn't scored any goals this year. 17 is 47 games coming in. 12 of those were the Suns, but such a different player wearing the Saints jumper. Can he get it back to 14 points? He's hit it reasonably. Has it gone across the face? Has just, but timed it nicely.
But that's where they're having all their shots from now. St Kilda, and actually Kangaroos are a bit the same. Both sides just controlling their back 50s really well. So a lot of shots, the only shots in fact that are being set up are so much out towards that 50-metre line.
So Thompson goes wide. Mullet, a late inclusion in the team, down to Goldstein. That was perfect, all of that. And Savage got into a wrestling move. Goldstein's kick, just okay.
It's a principle in football too. You have a lot of long shots at goal, you're going to kick a lot of long behinds. That's what the percentages tell us.
Jacobs to Atley. Now McMillan. That's his view down the ground. It's a thumping kick to Brown, all on his own, so he did well to spot him. Kicks quickly now inside 50. Nahas, good hands. Taken to ground by Webster, but it was a really strong, vice-like grip on the football. And, well, a man who probably thought his AFL career was just about over. He's back in now. First game for the season, promoted off the rookie list during the week. Does the team thing, just pops it up. Wood got his hands on the football first. Saints made a bit of a mess of that. They had the numbers around the contest, and now 3-on-1, but the one almost winning, although Gilbert got the footy up from Loney. They give it away to Ferrito. Back to Gibson, and Gibson just the fumble and over the line.
You can't fault the Saints' effort, Lee.
No. The endeavour of both sides has been outstanding, and their defensive pressure, which is, I guess, the thing. That's the test of your run and your stamina and your endurance. Are you prepared to do it to stop the opposition? I think both sides are doing it, and Kangaroos are just winning the ball a bit better, creating more opportunities.
Every time there's a ball in dispute, you see these St Kilda players desperately charging at it. Equally so the Kangaroos, but take nothing away from this Saints outfit. It's North by 19 points. You think that is the margin, that it will remain. We're about to speak to Lee Montagna. Maxwell will dash out to him, but an interesting first half. Drew Petrie's 300th game, and it's been the Roos at both changes so far. At halftime, it is the Roos by 19. They've extended their quarter-time lead by just 5 points, and it has been a game played under the roof at Etihad in what otherwise would be pretty ordinary conditions. A wet night in Melbourne, terribly wet morning and early afternoon. But for the moment, Saints doing enough. Let's go down to Nick Maxwell. I think he's found Joey Montagna.
Well, Joey had plenty of opportunities in that second quarter, just couldn't put it on the scoreboard.
Yeah, you're right. We're just saying that. We had plenty of chances. We know their defence is really strong and holds up, so probably got to look to pass the ball a little bit more. I think we're still bombing it in a bit too much, but bonus we're getting our opportunities. We've just got to use it a bit better.
You must feel like you're in it, though.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, certainly. What is it? 20 points, 3 goals. We're going okay. We just got to use the ball better and keep trying to win those clearances.
Thanks a lot, mate. Good luck second half.
Yeah, tough.
Half-time Sunday afternoon football. Kangas by 19 points. fair bit of the football, that man. Half-time, North Melbourne lead by 19 points. Let's go down to Nick Maxwell. Maxie, so much effort from the Saints, but they've struggled going inside 50 and converting.
Yeah, just like Joey Montagna said there at half-time, Hammer, just wasted the ball a little bit, just bombing it inside. And the other thing is the stoppages. They've really got to clean up that area of the game. 3 goals, 2 to the Kangaroos, just 1 behind to the Saints. So that's the margin. That's the margin in the game right there, 44-25. So if they can clean up those stoppages, use the ball a bit better going forward, they're right in this.
Thanks, Nick and Lee. When the Saints have got it, they've moved it well, but they've sort of been stuck around the perimeter of the 50.
Well, North Melbourne have been covering them really well. Some of the games that I've seen St Kilda play this year, their run and spread has been outstanding, and the opposition, they just keep outrunning the opposition, but not the Kangaroos. They just keep getting over there, block them up. The number of times where St Kilda are held up, sort of have to kick the ball over the mark. They want to be able to play quick footy. If there's an advantage they've got over the Kangaroos, it's that, but the Kangaroo system and game plan has shut down that particular way of attacking.
So the second half underway. Perfect bounce in the middle. Goldstein got his hand onto it first. Clean win for Zeeble, but smothered by Hickey. Picked up by Dunstan. A little bit of a fumble by Hickey. Geary did well. Off to Savage. And then his kick off the side of the boot. Skips over out of sight. So good defensively last Friday night, the Kangaroos, Lee. Limited the Bulldogs to just 6 goals.
Very good. St Kilda have actually decided to start with a 7th defender just to try and generate some run from behind, but obviously the Kangaroos will have the extra defender as well.
So Jake Carlisle watching his Saints this afternoon as Membry tries to kickstart the Saints early in the third.
Well, that's what they needed. It wasn't the big high kick, it was the directed pass into the hole, and the question was, probably Rewald could have marked it, but Membry got there first, and he's usually a good kick, Membry. Beautiful kicking action, as long as the pressure of the occasion doesn't prevent that action being accurate.
Kicked 1 already this afternoon, 5-1 last weekend, the VFL before that, and a couple of weeks as an emergency. Needs to make every post a winner, and well, he started beautifully in the third. 2 goals to Membry, margin back to 13.
Nice goal by Membry, but it came, there's been 2 clearances, a centre bounce clearances, and then a boundary throw, and St Kilda won them both. So if they can win a few more clearances, they take the ball into their forward line much quicker.
A career high 5-1 last week against Melbourne for Tim Membry, and he's got a couple here. Zeeble tries to get the ball going North Melbourne's way, and he did that by going back to Atley. Bad bounce for Dempster. Brown hands up, strong in the contest, lost it to Savage. Now Montagna. Heard the whistle, advantage paid, so Nunes now gathers on the outer side, drives it towards half-forward Akers. He's a good player, isn't he? Growing in confidence, the young man from West Perth, a basketball fanatic.
Oh, dangerous.
Dangerous handball to Nunes, who, if it wasn't Del Santo, it was going to be Harvey, and Akers, realising the error of his ways, goes and gets the football and gives it back inside for Membry. And then they get it to Ross from Montagna. Revolt!
Again, won a couple of clearances, and that's a critical factor. If you've got to take the ball from your back 50 into your forward 50 to score the way that the Kangaroos are setting up, and St Kilda for that matter, it's very hard to do. But if you win the clearances, you get it in quick. It's a packed situation, admittedly. And Rewald looks like he started a bit further forward, because taking 2, 3, 4 of these might be the thing that wins the game for the Saints.
He's played such a magnificent game. It wasn't perfect off the boot. The mark wasn't perfect for that matter either, but 16 disposals, 10 marks, and his first goal to get it back to 7 points.
We see Nick Rewalt there. 16 disposals, 10 marks, and he just kicked his first goal. He's coming from a wing and pushing hard forward every opportunity. He's got Sam Gibson with him, so obviously a good matchup for him.
Well, 3 goals last week, 4 the week before. Reebok gets his first, and another opportunity for the Saints. Can they kick 3 in a row? Thompson did well, stood up in the tackle, then was slung to ground late, still had a calm mind, worked it back. Atley bouncing from half-back, gets to the wing, puts it over the top, neat kick. Outside of the right boot, saw Goldstein. He fires it back inside. Now the skipper for the Kangaroos. A driving ball, Petrie!
The big body against the smaller body. As I said, I think he's a really good player, Sam Fisher, and then Geary tried to assist him third up, but as soon as you see a little bit of the pull of the jumper, and again, it's just he doesn't want Petrie to reach because he'll outreach him, so I think that has to be a free kick. He just didn't get access to the mark at all, Petrie.
The 300 gamer's got a couple, back to 13 points.
Anthony Stevens watching on, one of the immortal group of North Melbourne players, right up the upper echelon of the games played list, and now Drew Petrie, 5th on the games played list for North Melbourne. And they come forward again, down Petrie's way. Swallows ball, Jigiri back with the flight of the ball. It was a very tough one to try and mark. Fisher, Montagna, Brown got in the road and then just took the ball over the line.
Oh yeah, running back with the flight of the ball. It's not as dangerous now as it used to be because you can't really, other blokes are going to get suspended if they keep going, but it's still very, very difficult when you're running towards the ball and you can't see what's coming.
Montagna did well. Armitage, not quite cleanly taken by Tarrant. Got his hands onto it. Fumble in the end from memory. Loney fired it wide.
Contact.
Well, Gresham was taken very high from Swallow. Heard the umpire.
Yeah, bit high, Andrew. Hey, no.
It's impressive the way the Kangaroos are running back. Just the ball's held up a little there, back.
Well, overcommitted McDonald in the end, so another chance for the Saints. Bruce, again, a defender running back for the Kangaroos. Thompson, as he's done for the bulk of his career. So a 13-point margin. If you've just joined us, Roos by 14 at quarter time, 19 at the long break. 2-1 in this third term. Memory, Revolt, and then Petrie with his second.
A really entertaining start to this third quarter home. Atley just ran onto the football. A little bit of luck involved there. Ross. Revolt back to Loney. Loney back to Revolt. Revolt hooks it back towards the top of the square. Ferrito all on his own. Del Santo, the shepherd. Then Thompson gets it back, Del Santo. And that's what he's looking at up the ground. Not a lot, as you can see.
And North Melbourne.
Oh, that was an interesting call. It looked like Wade was the one who overplayed the body on Dempster.
So in the end, Del Santo played it perfectly. Given that Wade got the free kick, Gibson, Nahas can run at the 50. Has a bounce outside 50. Keeps it low and flat and hits the post.
Wasting no time, the Saints, to Nunes. Hasn't missed a game since round 1, 2014. He's been durable. Bruce, big fly. Couldn't quite take it. Thompson quickly away. Now to Goldstein. Back inside. Jared Waite thought about it a couple of times. Finally releases Petrie. Bouncing ball for him. Breaks late.
Is that free kick? No, it just looked like that was a high tackle. That, no. In the last minute, Dempster grappled, but I reckon in replay that is definitely a free kick to Dempster.
Gilbert, game's opened up a bit here, Lee, in this third term.
Yep.
And Gilbert plays onto himself. Bruce, the target. Weller, back to Bruce. Good stuff from the Saints here. He drives the ball towards half forward. Well done, Ferrito. Good use of the body. Just out-bodying Membry. Pushed him under the footy and he kicks the ball back in the Waite direction. Went through his hands. Nunes gets the football from Webster back to Gilbert on defensive 50 when he kicks and Montagna's away. Brown chasing, did a good effort, but then just a little undisciplined with a push.
Right out.
They set it up, but the Kangaroos defenders have done a wonderful job again. They're back, covering the holes.
Stay there.
Again, there's this long. Beautiful. Gee, they've done it well, the Kangaroos. Their defensive structure is really impressive.
Yeah, superb. They play Etihad so well, and Membry just bamboozled by all of that. He looked up, all he could see was blue and white, and he gave the ball straight to McDonald.
11 Kangaroos defenders had got back by the time Membry had put the ball inside 50.
Push back hard, make it very difficult to get easy goals against them.
So Ferrito, who's had a few opponents this afternoon, thumping ball to half forward. Fisher got a running mate in Gilbert. Well, he's on his wrong side now, which is his right. Handball's over the top. Montagna takes on Brown, too nimble in the end. Then sweeps it to Webster. Back it comes. Gilbert gets away from Brown again. Well, almost into trouble, out of trouble. Hickey, full stretch.
High contact, St.Kilda. No. High, play on.
Nunes quickly to Ross. Low ball. Membry, well, a fumble, had a few running by. Now he just kicks. Skipper's on. Again, Lee, this distance.
Yeah, the tantalising distance, as I say, they said it ad nauseum. The Kangaroo defence has just blocked the back 50 just beautifully. So St Kilda keep getting these kicks that are just about in kicking distance, and this will be in good kicking distance, but gee, it's very hard to get a high percentage of goals from the 50-metre line.
So Revolt has one for the afternoon. It was the second goal the Saints scored in this term. He's kicked it long enough. He's kicked it straight enough. 9-point ball game.
Well, that's what they want from Rewald. He's been getting heaps of the ball in the first half, but they need to get 3 or 4 goals out of him, I would have thought, if they got any chance of kicking a winning score.
Well, they got 2 from him now, 3 straight to 1-2 in this third term, and the Saints come forward again, or they tried to get forward through Dunstan. Well done, McDonald, who had other ideas, and the long kick is marked. Well, it was quick and through, and Mason Wood, man in front.
Just move out, please.
Yeah, just a centre bounce clearance. The kick they tend to set up down the centre corridor, knowing the space is out wide. So quite often when teams come out of the centre square, they'll go that little bit wide, and forward reads the teammate's kick, should get there first.
So Mason Wood has a behind this afternoon. He was one of the inclusions, second game for the season. He kicked a goal against Fremantle back in round 4, and he likes it off the boot. So a little steadier for St Kilda.
Been a great tactical battle between the two coaches. I'm really impressed with both their defensive setups, because they have not allowed the opposition to get easy goals. So both coaches have really put in a great defensive system.
3 goals to 2 in this third term. North Melbourne by 15, led by 19 at halftime. Atley, plenty of space, couple charge at him, nothing really from behind. Driving ball inside 50, Wait, got to take on Dempster. Higgins got Fisher to beat. Fisher lost his feet. Higgins kept his head, now to Goldstein. Steps inside, 3 Kangaroos. In the end, a fumble from Cunnington. Bruce, normally at the other end of the ground, alongside this man. Thompson connects. Goldstein's his target. Off the ground. Well, Nunes might have got just a bit agricultural in the end. Free kick to Goldstein.
Outside 50. Wheels around onto the left boot. High ball, Wait, Petrie. No mark in the end, off the deck. Still alive here. High ball for Gibson. He hooks it back. Just offline.
Yeah, split second. It's a split second whether you can execute the skill. The ball came out to Gibson, but just couldn't quite settle quickly enough off that half step.
A lot of talk around about Nick Revolt maybe in career best form, even at the stage of the career that he's at. Well, for the first 7 games, he's already now got the most disposals he's ever had after 7 games, 135, and taken the most marks, 74, that he'd ever taken in the first 7 games.
He's played a different position, Hamish. I mean, Basil, I should say. If he's playing deep in the forward line, then that's big numbers. But he's now playing a lot up the middle of the ground, so he's virtually getting midfield numbers.
He's a leaner model than we've seen him before, covering a lot of territory. So Gibson back inside. This kick opens things up. Cunnington, well, he had a couple of runners on the inside. Turn to the outer. Kicks in that direction now, and he's got 2. Gibson floats by Zeeble. He comes in and drives the ball. Tall timber plenty from a Kangaroo's perspective. Front spot was Dempster. Wait flew from behind Higgins. Very slick as he squeezed it through. Higgins is a clever footballer.
We'll have a look at the finish here. This might be quite a costly goal in a way, because he looks like he's hurt himself when he's come down after snapping that beautiful goal. And it's being assisted from the field as we speak.
Maybe hyperextending the right knee, was it?
It's hard to know what he did, but he certainly came up sore from the contact.
So 3-3 to 3 straight now, and forward they come again, and he's coming off the ground and being assisted by the trainers. The umpire was okay with that happening, and Cunnington takes the mark at half forward. So 22 points the lead. It was just a little bit too much for Del Santo, and now Akers with plenty of room to move. He gives the ball to Stephen, who thumps the ball long. Bruce is the target against Tarrant, needed to mark it. He gets a free kick, and he'll look up now and see not a lot on inside. The darker jumpers are outnumbered by the lighter coloured jumpers. And all of that gives North time to push back, and, well, we've seen it so many times already this afternoon.
You know, we've seen it so many times in a few games this year that the defence, any defence that doesn't cover that 20 metres out for that pull kick should be heavily disciplined, and they all get in there. He's been good, Cunnington. He's been winning stoppages and clearances, and now he's starting to get a little bit of outside ball as well.
Wonderful grab, wasn't it? Timed it perfectly, clean as a whistle, landed perfectly. Really good grab.
Higgins still with the doctors. They're just checking that right knee. He was saying there was an impact to the outside of the right knee, so we'll keep an eye on it.
Sean Dempster, I think it was, crashed into the outside of the right knee and pushed it inside, didn't he? So we'll have another look at that at some point. Cunnington quickly. Dal Santo went low. Clever. Harvey back to Dal Santo and then wide. Mason Wood had a bit of a problem, dealt with it pretty well in the end, and Savage just knocks it forward to the advantage of Harvey. Onto the boot quickly. Tumbling ball, Webster almost crashes into Gilbert. Gilbert just charges on. Runs into trouble, got the handball away, and then suddenly Billings under pressure.
Hasn't been that the type of play we've seen so often, where St Kilda trying to run, move the ball quickly, but the Kangaroos covering, defensive covering and tackling pressure has mostly held them up, which is why they've only kicked the 6 goals, had the 13 scoring shots.
More attention for Higgins. His weight. Handballed into Noon, so got a quick kick away. It was a fortuitous one, and then Billings stumps the ball towards half forward. Clean bowls everybody. The man waiting at the back of the pack, Minchington, got his handball away just in time to Loney. Running hard, Dunstan, and Revolt on the chest. 15 metres out, maybe a little further, 20, and a slight angle.
He's doing this part of the equation. He's been able to get on the end of kicks into the... Again, you see it in front of the ball, it's the run. I mean, Frito is on him, but he can't go with him. He's trying to watch the ball. He's trying to watch Rewald. And as soon as St Kilda got the ball in the middle of the ground, Rewald finds the space where his teammate can kick the ball to him.
Great numbers, aren't they? 19 disposals, 12 marks, 17-5 for the year, including 2 today. And he missed everything.
And it was amazing, you know, he didn't kick it, did he? He did like so many players do. You try and steer it from close in, and you lose your kicking action instead of trying to kick it 50 metres, no matter how far you're out from goal.
This side of the post, thanks.
The little man in the mind does strange things when those big 2 white goal posts are in front of you.
They're going to tape Sean Higgins' right knee, boys, and see if he can get back out there. So good news, I don't think it's too serious that he can't play any further part.
Thanks, Nick. So the Kangaroos now by 22. The last 2 goals of the game, and Sean Higgins, who's the man in good hands, kicked the last for the Kangaroos. Terrific goal, but just as he kicked it, was crashed into by Sean Dempster. Right knee the concern. Wells, terrific spin, quick hands. Cunnington, equally so to Zeeble. Well-weighted ball. Well, Geary, terrific. Really, really good. And suddenly the Saints are on again. From half-back, Webster pulls it through the middle. Bruce. Well, Farito, he's been either on Bruce or Revolt for much of the afternoon. Revolt is deep, running into the half-forward territory is Gresham.
Outside 50, keeps it low. Good kick, and Bruce, that was good running.
Good work rate, yeah, it was. He kicked it in the first place, of course, to Gresham, so then getting into the hole and trying to, again, this is now a very gettable distance. It's far enough out that you tend to kick through the ball, strange as it may sound. Yes, I've got to kick the ball firmly, and most players' controlled power is what gets you the most accurate kicking percentage.
Sean Higgins with 1-2 this afternoon. More attention on the boundary line. Just the one behind for Josh Bruce this afternoon. He starts it out right, lets the breeze, the swirl of the stadium bring it back. And that's a good goal.
Kick the ball nicely. Now, they just need to string a few together, but it's been a bit like goal to St Kilda, goal to the Kangaroos. So this centre bounce clearance becomes critical for St Kilda, because when they've been getting the centre bounce clearances, much more chance of scoring.
3 straight last week for Bruce. His first of the afternoon, back to 16 points.
Let him up, well tackled. No prior, thank you. Let him stand up. Thanks, Joe. straight back.
Well, Wells over the top. Nunes led to the ball by a senior citizen who's got the ball in his hands now. Short ball onto Wells, who's moving as well as we've seen him for a number of years. Over the top, Gibson wanted Harvey. Saints, though, come away with the football. Geary's been really good in the last 4 or 5 minutes. Through the middle, Billings sees Hickey. Couple of runners. Savage normally thumps the ball, does so this time as well. Where's Minchington? Well, he was outthought in the end by Atley. Atley never took his eyes off the ball. Kept Minchington where he wanted him in the end. Kangaroos come away with the footy.
Genuine one-on-one contest, that wasn't it, and Atley just did it better.
Disposal 20 now for Cunnington. He is having a very good afternoon. He's kicked a goal. Thompson always does what he needs to do. He kicks cross goal. Atley. So it's a 1-on-2, but it was a perfect kick. Absolutely perfect. McMillan marks. Less than 5 minutes to play, just holding the footy up a little here, Drew Petrie. Hickey he marked in front of, out wide, Mason Wood. They've done this very well, North Melbourne. Prepared to take a little bit of the pace out of the game just to retain possession. It was all perfect until Jared Waite dropped that mark. That's a good sign for the Kangaroos. Higgins on his feet, patrolling the boundary line again.
Slightly concerning, wasn't it, 10 minutes ago, as to whether the damage was more serious. But if they're contemplating more football, terrific outcome. 16-point leaders. Umpire contemplates.
It is amazing, isn't it? Clearly, he didn't try to keep the ball in. But because he didn't take possession, he was given sort of like the benefit of the doubt, in effect. You say, oh, well, you didn't take possession, so you can't be deliberately out of bounds.
Holding the man, North Melbourne, Andrew Swallow. Holding. Stay out. Move, stay out. Stay behind.
If they can keep it under 3 goals, St.Kilda, to three-quarter time, they'd be relatively pleased, but the Kangaroos have an ability to score quickly. Here's a chance. Minchington. Which way does he go? Well, poorly in the end. He had a few choices, executed it badly, and the Kangaroos are so good at this, just working it from fullback to halfback and into a scoring opportunity. So McDonald to Tarrant.
About that smother from Jacobs home. It was just cruising by. It's like he just flicked the ball behind his back. Incredible.
Brown and Petrie. Gilbert, less height. Read it well in the air, so still plenty of time before three-quarter time. Kangas by 16. 4 goals to the Saints in this term, 3 to the Kangaroos. Bruce, he's kicked one in this term. Thompson, Jacobs, Swallow, Stephen. Chase was hard. Well, the kick has landed just inside the boundary line, but that's what the Saints do. They put you under pressure all the time, and there's the spoil you were talking about.
Had no one forward. Mitchell, he was looking to try and use it. He probably had to have a crack from the 50-metre line, but he was trying to be team-orientated.
So Higgins preparing to come back on. Big moments here for St Kilda. 2:38 left on the clock, holding the ball. Boomer Harvey got Membry and got him perfectly. Wells off the ground now.
Getting a lot of attention too from the doctor, just holding left quad hamstring area, so I'll just try and work out what that is exactly.
Brown up in front here. Dempster.
Block, Brown. Brown, free kick. Ben Brown, free kick.
Gee, that's a free kick from a long way away. That was paid by the umpire back in the St Kilda forward line for, I think, a block in the marking contest.
It was unusual to see the call from that far back.
Yeah, from a long way away for that kind of offence.
When the officiating umpire was right there, and then Nick Del Sando trying to tell the umpire that they were out. Be that as it may, big pack of players here. Up high, Goldstein, Cunnington. Not sure about the handball. Harvey, Hickey, and Waite lost the handle on the football, crashing his way through. Armitage, ball in Ross's direction, but over the line. So 1:53 left on the clock. They would love another goal here, wouldn't they, St Kilda? Higgins back on the ground. That's terrific news. It's been a good quarter for the Saints. 4 straight. They've outscored North Melbourne 3-3.
Zeeble Ross Ross having such a wonderful year, and then Zeeble set upon.
Boys, Daniel Wells has gone down the rooms with the physio, just holding his left hamstring. They've strapped it up, so hopefully it's just a corky, not a hamstring injury.
I think the umpire took a while to pay that free kick because he wasn't sure whether that was one of the ducked into contact, but clearly to pick the ball up off the ground, you've got to have your head forward and down, and that's when the opposition player has to be beware not to make a high tackle.
He's uncompromising, isn't he, Zeeble? Harvey, heap of Saints around him. They win the day. Still 90 seconds before the last change. Revolt, who's on forward? Bruce or bust? He's the only St Kilda player forward of the circles, and not even he is there now. You can see him on the logo out of sight. Nothing in front of him towards the Saints' goals. 2-on-1. Bruce, well, outnumbered and beaten.
Now Zeeble might get the ball. He ran from the stoppage on the forward flank to get down to defend. That's the kind of running that you want your midfielders to do. That's outstanding.
So inside the last minute of the third, still under 3 goals this ball game. 9 goals, 11 to 7-7. The Kangas trying to make it 7 in a row. The Saints trying to go back-to-back this season. A great win here last weekend. Nunes was caught by McMillan. Zeeble quickly away to the outer side. 30 seconds to play. Kangaroos got the runners. Cunnington is one of those. Now to Del Santo. Looks further afield. Man drifting inside. Mason Wood runs to about 40. Kick on the way. Minus score only.
And again, a potential goal-scoring chase. Just put the pressure on.
So 11 seconds left on the clock. Savage gets the ball from Montagna, and that should do it for the Saints, although they take it on to Montagna. Time's going to beat them here. It's a long ball towards the wing, so some problems for Wells. He's off the ground and down in the rooms at the moment. Higgins had his problems, but all in all, the game is still alive, well and truly alive. It was a good term. 4 straight St Kilda. North Melbourne 3-4. North Melbourne by 17 points.
Saints won the term. As you've just joined us, Roos by 14 at quarter time. Roos by 19 at the long break. So 30 minutes of football remaining. The Saints trying to make it back-to-back wins. They've been so competitive on so many occasions this year. Terrific here last weekend against Melbourne. They beat Collingwood by 29 in round 3. That 3-point loss against the Hawks, but this is the only downside so far of the afternoon. Daniel Wells will keep an eye on him. Final term underway. Hickey, terrific, had a runner. Armitage couldn't quite get hold of the football. Del Santo. Heard the umpire, so Del Santo, one of the 4 300 gamers out there this afternoon, to Goldstein. Quiet last week, not this. Runs to about, well, 60, and the kick only ordinary, skips over.
He's so often too, Goldstein. He's a good player all 4 quarters, but he's so often even better in the last one because his running capacity can sometimes get involved in more contests than his direct opponent.
And he's there again, gets the ball down in Montagna's direction. Hickey gathered the footy. They're always dangerous, but Gresham running hard, got on the end of it, and then had the presence of mind to turn around and go back to Akers. So that was clever and good support from Akers, who started all of that off. Now takes them on, gets to the wing and sends the ball towards half forward. It's a tough one and over the line. Deliberate the claim from Stephen, but no free against Jacob.
Alan Richardson's been moving Stephen around to see if he can do something better with that matchup, so he's now playing as part of their forward 6, but Jacobs, what it means is Stephen is going to have to win a contest to get a possession. He's not going to get a freebie.
Well done, Hickey, but reading it perfectly. Cunnington kicks towards the middle of the ground and Brown.
Sam, 1 metre back, play on.
A couple of goals already, Brown, this afternoon. Kick to the outer side, Atley. Rare luxury of time and space. Now back inside, the leading weight. So just the one for the afternoon for Jared Waite. Low ball has the leading Higgins, who he kicked one late in the third, and that was a concern for him. Kicked, and at the same time as kicking, ran into by Dempster. Heavily taped knee, but as you heard Brad Scott say, all is okay.
And that what the St Kilda could have done is their midfield could have pushed back harder to block the leading space. The Kangaroos have mostly done that for the entire game, but as fatigue sets in, it's even harder to get back to help out your defence.
So 1 goal 2 for the afternoon for Sean Higgins. This to make it an uncomfortable margin for St Kilda. He's a beautiful kick of the football, and that's a beautiful kick. 23 points now.
Alan Richardson, I think he would have been disappointed that his midfield didn't get back to block the hole, but he's trying to work out a way to stop North scoring because they just keep the scoreboard ticking. St Kilda probably going to need to kick at least 6 to have a chance of winning the game.
And they haven't won a last quarter this season. 23 points is the biggest lead of the game. North Melbourne, Weller trying to push it forward. Well done by Ross across to Hickey. Really impressive Hickey this afternoon. Savage caught holding the ball.
Stay out, push out.
Nick Del Santo. Everything about his football so clean and clever. And Waite now on the lead, try to smother it on the half volley. Little handball was clever to Gibson. He knew he was there, and Higgins is alive here. Look out, Higgins inside the traffic. Well done. They got him from behind. It was Ross. Montagne's clearing kick on the mark taken by Dunstan.
Geary did a good job then, didn't he? Stripped the man of the football, and then suddenly Jade Gresham comes away. To the wing he goes. Bit of a foot race. Couple of Saints are going to go after the football. Well done. In the end, it was Nunes. Works it to half forward. Stephen, Jacobs, another foot race. Who gets there first? Well, Stephen was there. And then an ugly bouncing ball overran the footy. And Jacobs back to Thompson. Back it comes. Through the middle they come. Jacobs to Brown. Couple of runners for the Kangaroos. Brown ignores McDonald for the moment. Well done. At the back, the Kangaroos. Stephen looked like he was away.
Oh, through his legs home.
Petrie outnumbered. Dempster had hands on the football. Well, Swallow taken to ground. Again, you can't fault the Saints' effort, but a little too much polish from North Melbourne. They lead by 23. Have a look at this bounce here. Overran it slightly, and then that was cruel.
Couldn't touch the net. Swallow wrapped up by Ross. Ball gets out the back. McMillan. Geary. Weller. Down the line, stayed inside the field of play. So here's Gibson to reload. Brown was the target. At the back, it's not going to get that far. Mason Wood was there. Well done by Dempster in front to bring the ball to ground.
Didn't want to fall on him, Ben Brown, so he sat on him. I guess you can't get free kick for sitting on somebody.
Again, crowded forward line for North Melbourne. St Kilda pushing numbers back. Harvey. McMillan kicks it around the corner, but Hickey again getting back, doing a great job, the big man.
Well, kick was well weighted. Amazingly, just looking through the numbers, and our man Dave Frith has told us that there hasn't been a Kangaroos player this year with 30-plus disposals, meaning it's been so even every week.
It's not a high possession game they play, not a high handball game. They've got 179 kicks, 114 handballs.
Here's a chance for Nahas. Just offline.
It's when you get into the gigantic numbers when teams are having as many handballs as kicks, and the Kangaroos tend to be not quite 2 for 1, but certainly today they've had many more kicks and handballs. But that's partly because the defensive pressure of St Kilda has not given them targets to get to.
Gresham wasn't quite sure where to go, then went to Dempster and now to Fisher. 2 behinds this afternoon for Robin Nahas.
Boys, Armitage has gone down the rooms with the doctor. Keep you updated on what it is.
Thanks, Maxie. Nick Maxwell on the boundary line. Hickey, Goldstein over the top. Now Zeeble can run like a charging bull, gets towards the 50, sizes them up, and then just across the face in the end. It was worth a ping from there. There was nothing really on. No one at the top of the square, so had a shot. The margin now 25 points. Daniel Wells riding laps.
So the Saints with a mountain to climb. 25 points to the margin. Time, well, there's plenty of it. But they've got to find 5 or 6 goals, you would suggest, the way the Kangaroos are playing. Maybe more in a moment. So Ferrito intercepts. A couple of leading players. McMillan with the arms wide open, ignored. Into the pocket. A leading Mason Wood at full stretch. Almost Harvey tried to take it out of the air. Geary. Little give to Seb Ross. Kick was perfect on the right boot. It's not the one he likes normally. And then Dunson likes his left, and that wasn't so good. Montagna might have to mop up here. A couple of old-timers go hard at the football. Montagna led Petrie to it. Savage had his arm held, got the kick away. Zeeble goes back inside with the handball. Higgins kicked a goal moments ago, late in the third as well. Now Del Santo didn't quite hit it as he would have liked. Going back with a flight. Fisher, and straight away runs out of defence.
No waiting to take in the view. He plays on very quickly. The kick not terrific, and McMillan peels off a 2-on-1 situation with Loney chasing, and then the ball back inside, almost on the 50 to Sean Higgins, with a couple of goals alongside his name this afternoon, and a little injury scare in that third term.
Just locked the ball in for the last 5 minutes. They went forward once so far in the first 8 minutes of this quarter, St Kilda, but the Kangaroos just locked them in and created opportunities by doing that. Again, it's a 50-metre line, long kick.
Kicked 39 goals last season, 7-2 before today, so 9-4, kicking at his 10th goal for the season, and he's hit the post. What's that signal, Lee?
I think that's mean I'm what's the word, pointing wide, but I'm going down the middle. I think that's what it means.
Tricked us.
Jade Gresham quickly to Akers. Couple of the young Saints combining. Now Webster to Weller. Well, it was well done in the end. Billings just pointed to exactly where he wanted it, and he was delivered the ball, and so too was Revolt. This crucial. This to bring it back to 20 points. Revolt kicking for his third.
That's it, 10 guys.
How many marks for the afternoon for Nick Revolt? That's extraordinary.
15.
All round the ground too. So can Nick put his third through and close the gap to 20? Umpire shuffles a little, not too much though. Well done, the skipper. It is back to 20 points.
Third second half goal to Rewald. He's taken 4 marks inside 50 in the second half, had 4 shots at goal, and that's been incredibly important for the 5 goals, of course, that's been kicked so far in the second half by the Saints.
Goal apiece in this final term. Ross gets St Kilda moving forward again. Revolt caught behind Tarrant this time. Handball to Atley, got away from Gresham. Here's Swallow, who kicks the ball back into the corridor. Gee, that was gutsy. Zeeble. And then Gresham, well, I thought he was just standing his ground, to be perfectly fair, and Zeeble was coming in at his legs, and I reckon that's a bit of a tough call. Ferrito, Gibson, and they might have got out of bother here, because the Swallow kick back towards Zeeble was a very dangerous one. Tarrant. Now McMillan.
Zeeble had 8 touches in the first half. He's had 17 in the second half. So he's the sort of player you want in your foxhole, isn't he? He's just a tough, uncompromising, reliable performer.
And Gibson started the flow on the other side of the ground, and then he's just charged the 100 metres to get usable again.
You've been impressed with the running all day, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I think it's been a really good game of honest footy. There's been no easy ball. Both sides have defended brilliantly. They haven't had high tackles, 51 to 47 St Kilda's way, so that's not enormous, but they've just kept the hard running to block the offensive flow of the opposition side has been outstanding, I reckon, from both teams.
Chance for Loney, pulled off the football.
St Kilda. Go through. It's dealt with. Came out the tackle.
Come on.
Yep.
Comes out of the tackle.
I paid it, and that's it, Joe.
Still, I think globally the umpires well in controlling arguments won.
Yes, I don't think we've actually had the first yet where the argument to the umpire meant, oh, sorry, I'm wrong, I'll change the decision.
So Savage through the middle to Revolt. Over the top, 2-on-1. Well, chance now for Billings to bring it back to 14 points.
How often have we seen these 50-metre line kicks for St Kilda? Apart from Rewald's 4 marks deeper in the second half, they just haven't been able to generate too many shots from much closer in than this. Kicked 5 goals straight in the second half. They'll be doing well if this one is the 6th.
Well, he struck it well. He struck it really, really well. 14 points the margin.
That's a lovely kick. At least he knows he has to kick it hard. He has to kick it firmly. They kept it online to keep the Saints' hopes alive.
Coach didn't like the goal. St.Kilda fans loved it. So we're back to a 14-point ball game, and Stephen, who's been quiet for large periods of today's game, gets them forward again, although Mullet in the road, down the line, no mark. Cunnington forced his way through the tackle. Swallow, that was clever. Knocked the ball inside 50. Nahas, Fisher got him. Got the ball away, the umpire said legally. And then Nunes in there, wrapped up, and the ball will come up again.
You can see the renewed energy, and the Kangaroos know the game's in the balance, so does St Kilda. So this is the patch where everything has to be into the contest. Rewald outstanding, upfield, but he's 4 marks, shots at goal. That had been the real critical ones.
And Nunes now, here's Loney. Harvey was chasing, just got it away in time and might get it back. Brilliant Shepherd, no, out of bounds. And Weller, the block was perfect. Loney thought he was away. Umpire said it was over the line.
Basil, 15 minutes in this last quarter, and Daniel Wells yet to come onto the ground, so you'd have to assume you probably won't see him again.
So the Kangas are man down, but lead by 14. Next goal, so vital. Cunnington, well, it went back to the outer side. Now Zeeble. Got a lot on it. Petrie, game 300. Got the first of the afternoon for the Kangaroos. Brilliant in the end. Couple of old-timers combined from a St Kilda perspective, and Dempster wanted Membry but couldn't find him.
Yeah, two beats one most of the time. When you got Fisher and Dempster as the two, they're going to come out on top.
Well, Goldstein comfortably in the end. Swallow, Higgins, tackle was good. Seb Ross was a tackler. Stephen to Montagna. What can they work here through the middle? Stephen now to Weller. Got away from the tackle. Dunstan hacked the ball forward. It's going to work out okay. Membry from close range to make it an 8-point ball game.
Gee, it's close in, but it's going to be a difficult shot. He has to really come in as close to the man on the mark to a degree as he can. As closer he gets to goal, the more the angle opens up.
So a big moment.
Good goal.
And Membry handles the moment. It is 8 points only.
Thought his way through this really well. I thought he could have taken a couple of steps closer to goal, but he did it beautifully. Opened up the angle. Lovely controlled banana kick.
Well, nice sideways steps in there. 4 of the last 5 now, the Saints. 26-point lead at the 8-minute mark. It's back to 8 points, and the long ball inside 50 again for Bruce, but Ferrito stood up. Stephen, who's certainly lifted in this second half, he got them moving again out of the midfield. So Ferrito steadies things down a little. Mason Wood, geez, been good. Not paid the mark. Del Santo. Well done.
Interesting. I think he deliberately ran out of bounds, but he got away with that one. Did it nice and subtly.
Webster pushed him back all the way, and in the end, that was a good result for the Saints. So North by 8 points, 10-15. 10-7.
The umpires appreciate the subtle deliberate, don't they, Lee?
That's right, they did then.
Make an effort, act a little. Seb Ross. Well, here's a ball out the back, a big fly. Minchington happy just to knock it over. Thought he was out of position, so the Saints lock it in.
Yeah, good draw. The last thing St Kilda want is the Kangaroos to mark the ball and then set up from that time and space position. So drawing the ball up is a good effort.
Hickey won the tap out the back. Weller, McDonald shadows him. Tarrant, Cooley to Del Santo to Thompson to Cunnington. Almost every player on the ground inside the Saints forward 50. What are they going to work through the middle? There's nothing doing other than 3 Saints outside of this defensive 50 for the Kangaroos. Mullet, a kick, all dark jumpers. Dempster, quickly on they go. Webster pulls the kick. Akers can run to about 55. Then he'll get held up. Kick, vision good. Well, Josh Bruce.
Well, you often talk about momentum in football, and that comes usually from one goal that just gets the energy level up, the adrenaline going, and then all of a sudden one side seems to be quicker, playing with more energy, and St Kilda have been that side in this last 5 minutes and have a shot to get within a kick.
So they've kicked the last 3, the Saints, 4 of the last 5. They call him Bruce. 2-point ball game.
Bruce kicks the goal. St Kilda got the run. They're still behind, 2 points behind on the scoreboard, but they got all the momentum in the game. Now the Kangaroos, this is where experienced players keep their composure, win the footy, win this centre bounce. That has to be what the Kangaroos are desperate to do.
6 of the last 7. They've kicked 8 straight to 4-7 in this term. And Montagna holding the ball.
Maybe not in that fashion, but at least they have the chance to win the ball back. St Kilda getting good numbers back.
So Nahas rewarded with a tackle. McDonald down in Petrie's direction almost. He had his hands on it. Brown off the deck, not for the first time today. Higgins maybe a little careful with that knee. The ball comes out the back and Dunston's away and St Kilda are away. Billings looks upfield. He's got a man on. Membry's got it now. He can go long. Montagna is held up for the time being. He wants Montagna to come to him. And North Melbourne, that hard running, they get back. Now the ball comes inside. Outnumbered 3-1 was Bruce. Off the ground. Still in there for Loney, but not quite.
That's a good draw for St Kilda. They had the numbers back, the Kangaroos. They had the aerial supremacy, but they couldn't take control of the footy. St Kilda drew the boundary throw-in.
Saints the last 4 goals of the game. 5 of the last 6. Dunston, can he make it 5 in a row? Well, importantly,
this is what they've done so far this quarter, Hamish. They've just locked the ball in, St Kilda. It's a kick in, so it's a bit harder to lock in, but they're getting their numbers behind the footy and just chasing hard.
Scotty Thompson to Del Santo. 18 disposals for Del Santo. Now, right now, North Melbourne are well and truly on the back foot. Mullet. High ball down the line. Tarrant the target. Numbers over the back for St Kilda, but it got away from Geary. And the ball will be thrown in again. The energy, Nick Maxwell down on the boundary, seems to be all with St Kilda at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that 10 minutes before when they really struggled at North Melbourne, Goldstein was off the ground, Zeeble was off the ground, and Jacobs was, and Stephen got involved. So they're all back on the ground now trying to take control at the stoppages.
Hickey's done well. Zeeble over the football. Comes out Geary's way and Montagna, and they can reload again with a high ball towards half forward. Tough one to mark. It was Billings up in front. Jacobs, Gresham almost got a hand in there. Ditto Akers. McDonald comes away with a clearing ball.
Brown, big fly out the back. Waiting was Nunes. Mintington had to be quick. Zeeble was always bearing down. Free kick Saints.
Boy, is this game alive. The crowd's into it as they should be. Every contest now so critical.
Well, the last draw we saw played at AFL level, the Saints were involved against the Cats. Is there a draw coming up this afternoon? Mullet, well, somehow Akers kept it in. Well done, Hickey. Chance here, the Saints. Big fly comes over the top. Billings almost. Well, how's this? Game has no leader.
Oh.
Rewalt landed really heavily in that marking contest, boys.
On his feet now.
Let's see the Kangaroos, but they get forced to go long.
So for Rito, it is a long ball. Brown, Goldstein, Gilbert's down though, gets his hands on the footy first. Gresham trying to keep it locked in there. That might be St Kilda's best option here, and it will come up again. Here's the injury, Lee.
Yeah, fell badly, might have been an element of cramp, but he seems like he's up and going, running again.
So from 26 points at the 8-minute mark of this term, North Melbourne's lead has evaporated, and the umpire says throw it in.
You would think one team will score a goal from this point onwards. It's hard to think that there will be no goals scored in this last 3.5 minutes, so you've got to be able to get the score. Even the Kangaroos have to be able to score. They can't defend.
What a brilliant fight back it's been from the Saints. Less than 4 minutes to play. Geary, Zeeble, they get it over the line and they can set it up again.
Great example by Zeeble. He got the free kick against him. He tacked the ball so hard he gave away a high tackle before, but he knows every ground level ball, the body has to be going in at it. He's going to lead the way.
What an afternoon these two big men have had. Dal Santo taken to ground, tried to get rid of the football. Umpires deemed that he did in the end. Naha, Savage was the tackler, and the tackle was Savage. Ball now in dispute. Out the back it goes. Webster gets there first. Goldstein, clean hands, terrific over the top. Waite, he was clean too. Tries to get back inside two Saints. Tackle from Webster. Outstanding footy.
St.Kilda 3. Took too long.
Well, too long's relative these days, isn't it? You don't have long.
Not long.
Webster down the line. Ball fisted over the line deliberately by McMillan. The St Kilda fans wanted it. Would have been a brave umpire to call that one.
I don't think you're ever going to get called a fist over. I think that's the part of the game where you can deliberately put it out by just the fist from the marking contest.
2 minutes and 43 seconds left on the clock. Hickey, Goldstein got it down. Loney now trying to paddle. With him was Zeeble. And Zeeble handballs right over the line, deliberate.
Daniel Wells has come on, boys, for the last 2.5 minutes.
So Nunes to Ross and Wells. Well, how about that for a way to enter the game? With a big smother, and who knows, it might be a game-saving smother. 2:23 on the clock. Scores are level.
Well, here's a chance for the Saints. Quickly, Geary onto a loose ball. It was spilled, and then how did he get a boot onto that to half forward? Waite knocks it to space. A lot of Saints jumpers around the football. They might have given it up. Swallow quickly in. Hemmed in, but he got boot to ball. Petrie in game 300. How fitting that would have been. Savage, Gilbert, the sidestep good. Look at the white jumpers coming at him. Savage now to Nunes. Got the boot onto the ball. A couple of Kangaroos. McDonald. Well done,
well, that was
Aaron.
interesting whether they put Hickey out of the marking contest then, but got away with it.
So to half forward, a long driving ball. Petrie. Oh, Wood comes flying, had a lot of it, not quite enough. Savage, underneath him the ball sits. A pile of players, a drawn ball game for the moment, 91 seconds on the clock.
And now Kangaroos have got field position, so they've got to lock it in.
Block. Kangaroos.
Oh, wow. Goldstein gets the free kick.
That's the one where the opposition ruckman doesn't go at the footy.
There it is.
But every time they pay them, I'm never quite sure of ruck free kicks.
Gee, that is a big call. I mean, Hickey won the ruck contest.
Yeah, they got his body in and didn't allow Goldstein to jump at it. That's the interpretation that has been...
It's a really tough call. Goldstein hasn't hit the scoreboard today. Any score puts North Melbourne in front and North Melbourne lead by that behind.
Well, you know they've got to look to be going down the centre here, St Kilda, so both sides know that. Question is, can they get through? They've got the goalkeeper in place.
Well, the first play is wide. Membry, 3 goals for the afternoon, charging from half-back. Well, this is a big play, and it's a drop ball from Gibson. Little slap from Akers. Seb Ross went wide with a handball. Gibson picked it up. Harvey onto the boot. Inside now the Saints. Billings. Is it out of bounds on the full? It is. And that was a big tackle, and Boomer knows how to mop up some time.
Well, and maybe there won't be a goal in this last 3.5 minutes because they've just hung on really well, the Kangaroos. And now they got the ball with 30 seconds to go. They should be able to hold on from here.
So Boomer Harvey, big kick inside 50. The ball gets over the back to Savage. Now Nunes.
Holding the ball. That's it.
And Wood rewarded. Well, that one, less doubt. The ruck infringement against Hickey was the really interesting call of this last term. Here it is, Nunes. He tried to beat the tackle. So Mason Wood.
He'll be watching the countdown clock if he's got any brains.
Well, he knows.
It's at 26. That's what he's doing. He'll hold on to the ball. He knows to waste 15 seconds. When it gets to about 5, he'll have a shot and the siren will go.
You might not even have the shot, Lee. North Melbourne are going to win their first 7 games for the first time since 1979. 37 years ago was the last time they did it, and they remain undefeated on top of the ladder, and they ice it with a goal.
Makes you glad you're a fan of a game like that, Lethal.
That was a fantastic game, and not the free-flowing, high-scoring game, but I said I was incredibly impressed with both teams. Credit to the coaches, their defensive structure, and they got their players defending really hard, so we've had a 22-goal game, but yet again, there was no easy goals, so just a wonderful contest.
Well, there's younger teams, there's flashier teams, there's more talked about teams, but only one team is 7-zip. It's the Kangaroos and Drew Petrie. He was a part of it. Game 300, Maxie.
You've got a closer than what you wanted, but got the points.
Yeah, well, we knew it was going to be tight. St Kilda have been going well this year, despite what their ladder position might suggest. So they were fantastic all day, and I don't know, mixed emotions. It's good to win, but gee, we're lucky.
I know you're a team man and you probably didn't like all the attention this week, but it must be good to be a little bit of focus on you and appreciation for what you've been able to do.
Yeah, Maxie, it was good. I made sure I embraced it. I didn't want to shut everything away and look back on it in 5 years and regret sort of trying to shy away from it. So the people who have helped me throughout my career, too many to mention, but I think it's about them. I've had a lot of good people show me the way, and a testament to those people.
A lot of past teammates were with you before the game in the rooms. That must have meant a lot to you.
Yeah, it does. Good to see blokes like Daniel Harris, Corey Jones, Jess Sinclair was in there. So good to see those blokes. We had some good times together, and they're the blokes that help shape who you are today.
Go and enjoy the win, mate. Well done.
Thanks, Maxie. Go and enjoy it. Thanks.
Well, congratulations to Drew Petrie. 16th season, outstanding. Lee, you're the umpire. Tell us what happens if you're in charge of the whistle here. This is the Goldstein Hickey free kick late. The Goldstein kick
a critical one.
Behind.
Yeah. Now, Hickey's looked at Goldstein and tried to block Goldstein's run at the footy, so I think even with the view of the replay, I think the free kick would be paid. But the idea is both ruckmen have got to be able to jump at the footy. That's what the umpire is trying to do within the rules, and Hickey came in first to block.
His eyes just momentarily came off, didn't they? But you are entitled, obviously, to look across in the direction of the opposition.
Yeah, but not sort of run past the fall of the ball and just block his jump. That is effectively what Hickey did.
It was a big call, maybe fair enough. Let's get down to Maxie with Jack Zeeble.
Well, Jack, you got a little bit tight, mate, but you certainly wanted to win for Drew today, didn't you?
Absolutely. The big fella epitomises a North Melbourne person, and we couldn't imagine any other ending for his 300 today. So it was a good effort by the boys, and full credit to the Saints. They played really well, and they've got to give me a great side in the future.
I saw you were off for about 10 minutes there in that last quarter when they started coming at you. You really wanted to get back on. You were desperate.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't like to be on the bench when the other team gets a bit of a run on, but the way the rotations work these days, you might get stuck there. But the boys grounded out, and I think it was a point, was it? Or a goal and a point, so it was a good result.
Mate, get over there and enjoy it with trophies.
It's good awareness too, wasn't it, Lee, from Mason Wood? You called it with a clock.
Oh, yeah, well, players are doing it now. I mean, they sort of know, and I'm sure plenty of his teammates are reminding him, take all the time you can, and...
Well, it's an emotional game. We saw Dunstan, tears in his eyes. Means a lot.
It's one
great respect from the Saints.
The footy system does these really well. The opposition team give the respect it's due. And Brent Harvey's going to be one of the carriers. Fantastic. Great memory.
Just the 74th player to get to 300 games. Remarkable. Less than 0.5% of players do that. So congratulations to Drew. Well done to the Kangaroos. For the first time, a long, long time. It's 7-0 the Kangaroos to start a season. Home just by 7 points. What a good time to be a Kangaroos fan. We'll come back in a moment, have a look at the best stuff. Well, great game of footy. No sign of ceasefire from the Saints. The barrage continued, but the Kangaroos found a way to win an important milestone game.
Drew Petrie deserves to celebrate with his teammates as a winner, and he does it. The Saints showed plenty of cheek, but North Melbourne in the end by 7 points. They're unbeaten 7-0 in Drew Petrie's 300th game.